So you want somebody in county government who is going to treat your money better than they do their own. You want to ask yourself, is this a service that we absolutely have to have, or is it one we can do without? When your family budget hits hard times, you eat ground beef instead of steak. It's not right for county government or any government to just come back to you and say, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to eat ground beef. I think I'll just charge you a little bit more so I can have money and still have all the bells and whistles. That's not my job. My job is to look forward and plan for the county's growth, which we are experiencing as Dallas comes this way. You deal with all the other elected officials. You set their budget, so you have to have knowledge of their jobs, because every one of them will come to you and say, I need more employees, I need better computers, I need internet access, I need new software programs. If you're in law enforcement, you need more men. And how do you turn down law enforcement when you know that some of his officers might be going out by themselves to a family violence call? That's the most dangerous thing in the world. You don't want that. You want them to have good equipment, good trucks. You want them to have the very best of everything. But I can't provide them with the very best of everything unless I get the money from y'all. There's a balance. They need to have really good equipment, but sometimes you can't have everything. You have to grow into it. Now, Hopkins County, because we're different, there's only 2 counties in the state of Texas that have a paid fire department. We started this approximately 8 years ago. And the reason we started having a paid fire department was because times change. You don't have as many volunteers as what you used to in your volunteer fire departments. And so the community, your business climate has changed. It's not so much ag-based anymore. We don't have as many dairies. The people that used to volunteer their time, they're not their own boss. They can't stay up all night fighting a fire and then get up and go to work the next morning. So it's not like you just told the cows to wait while you went and helped your neighbor. Times have changed. And so as a county government, we looked forward and started settling up this fire department, which we have now. If y'all haven't gone and seen the new fire station, which, pardon me, we got with a grant. We all went to Washington, D.C. We got a $750,000 grant to build a station. And we contacted the hospital. And the hospital, of course, they run the ambulance service here in Hopkins County. And we went in, we told them we would build X amount of square footage if they wanted to have an ambulance on the south side of the interstate. Y'all think about, how do you get an ambulance from the hospital to the south side? You had Gilmer Street, and you had railroad tracks. It wasn't really safe, but everybody did the best they could. Hospital came in with us. We built X amount of square feet more, and they park an ambulance out there, and they pay us rent. And the rent that they pay is exactly how much it cost us to build the building bigger. And so we networked with another piece of your government entity, your taxing entity. And that's what you've got to do. That's what Commissioner's Court does. How many of y'all think the judge is my boss? County judge is not my boss. This is a 5-member court. 5-member court. You've got 4 commissioners. Your county is divided up into 4 precincts, and we're each elected by precinct. Then you have your county judge, who is elected county-wide, and he presides over the court. He signs all our contracts, but the contracts he signs, he brings before the court. When we set the budget, it's the judge's budget, but it is passed by Commissioner's Court. And that's why you all need to work together, but so you don't get into a stalemate when it comes time to pass that budget. Y'all will notice notices being placed in the newspaper. We're going to start on the budget probably late May, June. We'll be doing work sessions. Y'all are welcome to come to those work sessions and see how we're going to spend your county tax dollars. Once we do make the decisions we have to make, then we'll have public notices, and we'll have public hearings. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them now. They've increased them in the past couple of years, where y'all will actually come up, and if you want to, you can look at the budget. And if you have questions, you can stand up in court. we'd be thrilled for y'all to come. We usually don't have that many people come, but it's open to you, and I would like to invite you now to come see how your tax dollars are spent. Hopkins County has a 0.56 tax rate. That's 56 cents on 100. And a lot of people driving the county roads. Let me tell you how much I get from my county roads. If you're it's easy to figure this way, so we'll just say your taxes are $100. 26% of that goes to roads and bridges. Of that 26 cents, okay, 26 cents of 100, there's 1% that's not collectible. So we'll just drop it down because it's easy to divide. We'll go down to $25. Now we've got that 25, and that 25 is divided 4 ways. So each precinct, out of every $100 you're paying, each precinct commissioner is going to get $6.25 to take care of their roads. Y'all kind of might add that up in your head. I talked to a lady the other day, and she had a gravel road. It had been dirt when she moved in on it, but because I have this issue about people not being able to have emergency services, I went ahead and rocked it so that the ambulances and the fire trucks could get there, because it was a clay dirt and you couldn't have got down it right now. And so I went ahead and rocked it, and she called me. She told me she'd lived out there for 10 years, and she was very concerned because her road wasn't oiled. And she had 80 acres. And I said, well, you've got 80 acres? She said, yeah. And I said, well, how many of those are on ag exempt? Well, just about all of them. I said, do you know that when you have a piece of ag exempt property, that property may be valued at $3,000, but the county only collects taxes on $113. So when you're driving up and down these county roads, just imagine how many of those acres are probably ag exempt, and that we're pulling our tax rate off $113 an acre. I told her, I said, well, how much do you pay? And she paid $465. I said, sounds good to me. I said, we'll just assume you've paid $450 for 10 years. And she said, okay. So we broke it down. The 26%, the 1% uncollectible. We divided it between the 4 precincts. I ended up with $30 a year. And I said, you've lived there 10 years. I said, I've got $300. One 18-wheeler full of flex base, the 1 3/4 inch flex base, right now is running pretty close to $400. It's $15.25 a ton. Oil sand, when I came into office, was $17.50 a ton. It is now $47 a ton. When you see one of those big 18-wheelers, you're looking at just a little bit under $1,300. It takes 4 of those 18-wheelers to do 1/10 of a mile of county road that's about 16 foot wide. If you buy oil by the barrel and tear it up like the old-fashioned way, where you'd run the reclaimers down it and you'd see the mixers and you'd put the live oil on it, when I came into office, that live oil was, I think it was $18, $19 a barrel. At last, it was $80 and something a barrel. It takes, on a brand new road, somewhere between 45 and 50 barrels of oil, 1/10 of a mile, to put a road down. If you're tearing up an old road, you're probably looking more like $25 a barrel. My budget when I came into office was $675,000. That's 14 years ago, and I had 8 employees. My budget now is $945,000, and I have 6 employees. We've had to drop it. So you can see my budget has nowhere near kept up with the cost of the materials that we put down on the roads. And that's one reason your roads are taking such a hit. And plus, we're growing. We're growing. And I mean, would we want anything else? No, we don't want to die. We want controlled growth. And that way we can retain the atmosphere of our community. So it's an exciting time. I look at all this as challenges. I'm not complaining. These are just challenges to me. I start my day at 7 o'clock in the morning out at my county barn. Right now I have my crew on 4 10-hour days, because anybody that's worked a crew going out somewhere, you know you lose an hour getting there and you lose an hour getting back home. I save the fuel going back and forth. I save the work time by going to the 4 10-hour days. Plus, my employees gives them a 3-day weekend to have some time with their families. And when they come back on Monday, they're ready to go. I mean, they're refreshed and they're ready to go. And it's amazing how much work we can get done.